Howdy slot heads, this is Michael from Moondog Slot Car Racing. I'm here today to try to show you what I do to my Ultra-G, my AW ThunderJet Ultra-G chassis as soon as I take them out of the package. There's a bunch of parts that I replace. So I'll start with, I will be replacing pickup shoes with dash low profile pickup shoes. I'll replace the guide pin with a dash guide pin. I'll replace the body screws with, I can't see those. There's some 172s that I get from either Jag or OS3 depending on when I'm ordering parts. These are BTO Tough Ones rims that I get from Slot Car Central. These are the thicker 3mm. I'm not used to where the camera is yet. They're O-ring style. I get them, they're Blizzard front tires from Dash. Possibly changing out the axle with a fresh Auto World axle. The ones you buy in the packages tend to be better than the ones that come with the cars. We'll see, sometimes they're good. Some BTO, better than original, also from Slot Car Central, rear Tough One style rims. They're truer than the ones that come with the car, and then some 370 outside diameter. I think it's C2 compound that I pick up from Parsippany Slot Car Show, Anthony, and then I forget, I also pick them up on eBay sometimes, depending on what's closer. I don't always want to wait for the restock for the next Slot Car Show. So the car I'm going to be doing is the one I got at the Parsippany Slot Car Show. It is the Dodge 330. I got this as a door prize, so I am very excited to get this out and up and running. Some of the parts I use obviously is or tools I should say, my box cutter knife, my tech block. I actually end up using it as an anvil. A lot of times I need to have a flat surface. My other wooden tech block, screwdriver, 3.0 Phillips, just a flathead sometimes to pry things, tweezers sometimes needed for my fumbling hands, and sometimes I bring in the hammer. It's a jeweler's hammer. It's pretty good for working on things without breaking them, but sometimes you need a little bit of tap here and there. So let's put that stuff out of the way for right now and get to the unboxing of the actual car. Hope you all are having a good evening, good morning, or day, wherever you are. There's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the way I've always done it for some reason. Oh no, I moved the mint box. Don't know which camera you like to see it in better, so I will do both. We'll see, how does that sit? Fumbleia. That's the way it comes out of the package. She is running. She sounds like a pretty good runner, but we're going to make her better because first thing is I'm going to get this off. And that's always the fun part because I forget where my tool is for that. I forgot these have their own thing. It's another reason I don't like them. I don't have a million tools. I just want to use a screwdriver. And I'm going to be taking the back screw off too because I don't like the screws that they come with. I'll get that out of there. I'm going to take all the rubber off. Rubber that comes with it tends to be, I don't know, it just feels terrible. It's not good for racing. Probably doing a lot of spinning with that stuff. Very hard. Not very good for traction. Probably can condition them with all kinds of things to make them better too, but I like just replacing them. So now, I don't remember why I can't. Don't think this tool works for that. No. So back to the pliers. Actually, I'm going to take these off. These pickup shoes to me are the crappiest. They're just not good pickup shoes for running. They're better than some of the other Auto World ones, though. I have to say there are some Auto World ones where they're like soft tin, like I think it's the Super 3s. I'm going to put the springs aside. Don't like these. Gotta be careful because they're really pried under there. Sometimes they will pop up the bracket, the hanger bracket where they snap into when you're taking them out. So I'll also often just push them back down and make sure I didn't torque them up too much. It's amazing how tight they are too. Should be able to twist it by now. Yeah. It's an interesting concept. Jag has a similar concept where it screws in and it's a guide pin and a body screw at the same time. But they're weird. They're just very big. They could have made them not take up as much space. So there's the body. No damage underneath. Looks pretty good. A couple blemishes on the paint. But overall, AutoWorld does a great job with their detail on their bodies. So I forgot another one of the tools I use. I pry off the rims with this sometimes so that I don't damage it. It depends. Sometimes I use a wheel press. This one is going to need the wheel press. So use my tire puller. Just that sometimes you can't get them in. There's not enough room, and I have a smaller one I can use too, but I just like to try not to, and I'm taking the wrong side off. I actually like to take the other side off. So here I'm going to push that way so I have enough room. And I'm going to pull the side that's next to the crown gear. You can see that. I usually like to take that side off close to the crown gear first, and I'll show you why in a minute. Can't really see on the close-up cam because my fat ass hand gets in the way. Sausage fingers. That's one rim off. Now what I do is push that rim into as close to the chassis as I can by pushing on my tech block, aluminum tech block. Now I don't always take this extra rim off because I will pop these in. I store them. I don't throw them away. I may sell them or give them away at some point. I'm not sure. But if you pull the other way, you pull towards the crown gear side, the combination of the crown gear and the pressure that you're putting on it sometimes will snap this piece of the chassis. I've seen it happen on Aurora Dash and Aurora chassis. I haven't tried it on a Wizard yet, but so I tend to pull it the other way so I don't have the crown gear. The crown gear stays nice and tight inside this nook, and I can just pull it out. Sometimes the rim will come off and I have to use a pair of pliers to pull the axle out the other way, but we'll see. A lot of times they'll come out. Today it's tight. Doesn't want to come out. Of course. So that means I'm going to have to do the pliers method. Very, 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 very different every time. Not the same experience every time I do these. All right, so the other rim is off. Now I'll get my fancy strong pliers. I'm sure there's a better tool to push this out with, but so far I've never actually broken anything doing it this way. So there you go. Axle's out, crown gear is good. That axle looks pretty decent. It's not bent, no damage to it. So I'm actually going to keep using that one. So now here's where I use the hammer a little bit, is I'm going to take the new rear, just tap it in a bit. It doesn't need much. You can probably press it on, but I like to tap. That one actually is loose enough to press on. This one is really being stubborn. That crown gear must be nice and tight. Sometimes they go straight through. And there we go. So I need to actually pull that flush. This one feels a little loose. That's surprising. Usually they're not that loose. So you just want to put them in. These are splined axles. They're not fully smooth. So there's a smooth spot that you want in the space where it goes through the chassis. That's something that just takes time to eye up and do over time. Let's see how this one goes. These rims are a little loose. They may be used rims that I pulled off of another car. But it's on. Got a little grease on my hands. They use some kind of grease on these in the factory. And I'll put my rubber on. Before I do the pickup springs, I'm going to do the front axle. Pickup shoes, I should say. Pickup shoes and springs back in place. This is another one where sometimes I use a brand new axle, sometimes the one that comes with it's good enough. We're going to find out in a second. That one looks good to me. Usually see easily if they're warped, but they're not in this case. So I press these on myself. Sometimes I have to tap it a bit, but you want the pin as close to in there as you can, all the way in. I believe this was a long axle. I'm going to double check that. Yeah, front hole is going to be long. So we're going through the frontmost hole. Again, I'm using the hard surface always, so I'm not bending things. That's in. Get our O-rings on. And then it's time to go to pickup shoes. This can be challenging for me with my hands and eyes. I already dropped it once. We'll see how many times I fumble it before I get it in place properly. Pickup shoe. These, where they're up over everything, I slide them in from the side and then snap them forward. Make sure it's there. One in, second spring, second shoe. Wow, I'm way off camera with the lower camera. Sorry about that. Those are the new shoes in place. I like them better than the stock shoes. They sometimes need some adjustments, and sometimes this little notch needs to be shaved down a little bit because Auto World's a little inconsistent with that in the chassis, whereas Aurora and Dash, they are a lot more tighter tolerance on the, I'm not sure what you call it. I've called it the nipple. I'm not sure what the pickup shoe nipple. I'm not sure what other people call it, but nub. So that's the basics. Pickup shoes, front rims, rear rims, and new rubber. And honestly, that alone will, before you even deal with oiling, because there's a little bit of grease on there, but not much. How does this camera pick it up? So then the other thing is the body screws, so we can get this back mounted. Another challenge for me. Sometimes I can get them in quickly, and sometimes I drop the screw like 5 times before I get it threaded. This one I got in the first shot. 172s from OS3 work very nice for the Auto World bodies. Right, so next up, get that into there. Going to adjust it a little bit. Don't over tighten. That's sitting in pretty nice. So now we get the guide pin. Sometimes I glue these on my racers. I always glue them in. Sometimes on my regular ones, just for fun, I glue them in too, just to not have to deal with picking them on and off and having to hold the shoe and the screw at the same time. Wow, my hands are working nice today. Suddenly behaving for the camera. There it is, sitting on the block with its new rims, new rubber, new pickup shoes, new body screws. That alone, I guarantee, will make it run a lot better than it was out of the package. It's more to do with how it runs on the track. Handling didn't mess anything up. It's still running good and strong. So that's what I do to my Auto World Ultra-Gs. Every time I have the parts available and I get a new one, those are the first things I do. Next will be oil it and getting it some track time, which I'm not going to do right now because I haven't had dinner yet and I need to eat. I was also going to show you something else real quick. I'll leave this. Oh no, that's going to be in the way of the camera, so I'll leave this here for now. But this body, I don't know if you remember, it took a very big tumble to a concrete floor, and both windows posts on the front window end shattered and were completely gone. Now, if you notice, there's something clear there right now. That clear stuff, also did the rear little triangle window with it, is weld bond glue. It's what I actually use most of the times when I'll probably do another video on that at some point. A lot of the windows are loose and rattly, and they actually affect the noise and the handling of the cars. So I often will use the weld bond glue. It dries clear and looks good, and it's kind of like, it's not so permanent that you don't meld it and melt into the plastic with it. So it's kind of rubbery, which I also like because it's easy to remove if you want to take it back off. And one thing it does with these, where I just tried it on the window posts, is I can paint them black if I want, or chrome if I want. I haven't decided if I'm going to paint them. For now, I'm just going to test it. I'll put the actual windshield back in place on this, and I want to see how well it holds up to a couple of accidents, because right now I'm pushing on it and it's bending and not breaking. And that's only one. I took toothpick, took a little bit of it in one of my in the pallet wells. I took one of the pallet wells full of it, and I just took a toothpick and I kind of used the toothpick to draw in the spot until it got to where I wanted it, and shaped it, and then let it dry. And I think that's better than me trying to play with goop and try to make new window posts. So I'm going to try this method out and see how it goes. Durability wise over time. And honestly, it's so cheap and easy to do again. Even if it breaks again, at least I can do that, and I'll still be able to run the body and not feel like it doesn't have window posts. And I'll get the window back in place, and then we'll see. I may even do a back end of the window post on there just so it's a little stronger from underneath once I get the window back in. So I thought I'd show you that as well. That's all I wanted to show you today. So I hope you guys all have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Keep it in the slot.